Hello, I'm Silly.
And I'm Billy. And you are watching the Silly Billy Show.
Do you know a story, Billy?
Oh, yes, I do know a story, Silly. Once, my grandpa told us a story when he was teaching us how to make roosterbroods one year. Yes, he told us that he had 2 wolves inside him. Wolves that were fighting inside of him.
Oh, I know this one. Yes, and the bad wolf is full of nasty thoughts, and he's cruel, and he's unkind, and he's selfish, and he's greedy, and he's unkind to everyone, and he doesn't like people, and he always blames everybody else, and he likes to see people sad. Yes, that's the bad wolf.
Yes, that's right. That's the story. And the other wolf is a good wolf. And the wolf is kind and thoughtful and generous and forgives and thinks happy thoughts. Yes, that's the good wolf. And then we said to Grandpa, but which wolf wins? And Grandpa says, oh, the wolf that I feed.
Oh, that's a lovely story, Silly and Billy. Makes me think that if we don't feed the unkind wolf, it'll just wither away and we'll be left with the kind wolf. Isn't that nice? What about if I just close the window on my unkind wolf and I'll run in the meadows with my kind wolf? That's a lovely idea, Smelly Sock. Oh, Smelly Sock, you do look different today. Look at you, you're all blue. Thank you. Oh, was that a compliment? Yes. Hello, children. Hello, Smelly Sock. Hello, Kitty. Hello, Smelly Sock. Well, children, we've got a very nice story for you today, and it comes all the way from Russia. And this story is a little similar to one of the stories that we know so well here in the Western lands. And this story is called Vasalisa the Beautiful. Can I play Vasalisa? Yes, you can. Because I'm beautiful. Yes, you are. You're beautiful inside and out. Oh. Thank you. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was an old man and an old woman. They were lovely. Yes. And they had a beautiful daughter called Vasalisa. One day, well, misfortune came across their step, and the old lady was sick, and she knew that she was going to be dying soon. So she called her daughter to her bed. My darling daughter, I am not long for this world. I have a gift for you. Oh, mother. Yes, here is a wooden doll. Now, if you're ever in any kind of trouble, you take this wooden doll and you feed it, and you can tell it all your troubles and it will help you. Oh, thank you, mother. And soon after that, the old lady died. Well, the old man and Vasalisa was sad for a time, but then the old man married again. Oh, yes, he wanted a second mother for his beautiful daughter. But instead, all she got was an evil stepmother and 2 terrible stepsisters. Yes. Oh dear, once again, the awful stepmother. Yes. Well, this stepmother was really bad. She had nothing nice to say about anyone, and she loved her daughters, and her daughters were, well, we have nothing nice to say about them. And all day long, the 3 of them used to get Vasalisa to do this and do that. They would say, clean the pots, scratch the pans, put out the sheets, and cook the lunch, and water the cabbage, and feed the chickens, and on it went all day long. Yes, so in the morning, when it was time to milk the cows, I would milk the cow a little bit, and then I would take out my wooden doll and say, feed my little bit of milk to the little doll, and say, beautiful doll, lend me your ear, so you can hear all the troubles that are here. And I told the little doll all the things that I had to do. And the little doll said, don't worry, Vasily, you relax, and it will all be done in the blink of an eye. So I plaited flowers in my hair, and the cow got milked, and the cabbage got watered, and the birds were fed, and the lunch was cooked, and the dishes were washed, and the beds were made, and everything was done within a twinkling of an eye.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes. Then once your father went away on a long business trip, and you were left alone with your stepmother and sisters, weren't you?
Yes.
And that night, the stepmother, well, she gave a job to each of the girls. And she said, I'm going to bed. You three need to finish this job by the light of the birch tree, which was burning like an ember in the corner of the room.
My eldest sister, she had to make lace, and the one just above me, well, she had to knit stockings, and I had to weave.
But soon the birch tree burned out, and there was no more light, and the eldest sister said, I know, let somebody go to Baba Gaga's cottage and ask her for help.
Baba Gaga?
Yes, well, she's a very evil witch. Nobody wanted to go to her cottage. She was very famous because she would gobble people up whole, lick her lips and grin. That's the kind of evil witch Baba Gaga was. The elder sister said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I can see my sewing by the light of my needle that's blinking in the moon. Then the middle sister said, well, I'm not going. I can see perfectly well, even though it's totally dark. And they both turned to Vasalina and said, you go. And they pushed her out the door. No sooner was she outside, she looked around, and it was pitch dark. She was terribly afraid. So she pulled the little wooden doll out of her pocket and said to the wooden doll, feeding it a little bit of bread, she said, oh, lend me your ear for my troubles. My troubles, you should. My troubles. Yes, your troubles. My troubles you surely must hear. And the doll said, don't you worry about a thing. Keep me close and no harm will come to you. So she walked, and soon the dawn was rising, and she walked. All day she walked. She could not find Baba Gaga's cottage. And evening came, and still she walked on, and there, along the plain, was a little cottage.
That was Baba Gaga's cottage.
Yes, and as she arrived at the gate of the cottage, oh my, it was getting dark. She noticed, I noticed, the fence was made of bones, human bones. Really? Yes, and the gate was made of men's bones, and on top of the fence, well, there were skulls, and as night fell, the eyes in the skulls lit up and shone. And the lock on the gate was made of human teeth. Human teeth, human teeth. Oh. Next thing Baba Gaga arrived, she flew in on a mortar and pestle. What's a mortar and pestle? Oh, it's one of those things you use in the kitchen to ground spices and pepper and...
Oh, yes, that's what she flew in on.
Yes. Sweeping her evil footsteps behind her with a broom. She took one look at Vasalisa and said, what are you doing here?
My stepmother and my two stepsisters have sent me to get a light.
Oh, yes, I know your stepmother. She is a relation of mine.
A relation of yours?
Yes. Come in, you can do some work for me, and we'll see what we can do. And Baba Gaga said to the gate, open, gate! You do not need to close on her. She is with me. Birch tree, you do not need to scratch her. She is with me. Dog, you do not need to bite her. She is with me. And entering into the house, she said, "Cat, you don't need to scratch her. She's with me." And entering the house, Baba Yaga called to her cook, "Cook, I'm hungry. Come feed me." And cook brought forth the food. Well, 4 roasted pigs, 20 chickens, 40 geese, 3 pies and a piece besides, 5 litres of beer, 29 eggs, broth, brost and kvekf. And Baba Yaga ate it all up. And just before falling asleep, she turned to Vasalisa and said, "Now you need to take that bag of millet and you need to separate it from the black bits that I don't like to eat. And if you don't do that, I shall gobble you up whole. Ha!" And with that, she fell fast asleep and snored so that the house shook. "Oh no, what am I going to do?" She took out her little wooden doll. Baba Yaga had given her nothing from that feast except a crust of bread. She fed some of the crust of bread to the doll and said, "Oh, doll, what am I to do? What am I to do? If I don't separate this millet, Baba Yaga will eat me." The doll said, "Oh, go to sleep, for the light of morning makes much more sense than the night light." Vasalisa went to sleep, and the little doll called. She called all the birds from the skies. "Titwit, starling, owl." And they came in flocks and flocks. You won't believe how many flocks, uncountable amount of birds came. And they separated the millet and the black bits they kept in their crow, and they separated. And by morning, it was all done, as Baba Yaga woke up and said, "Vasalisa, did you do the job?" "Yes, everything is done, Granny." Baba Yaga was not impressed because, of course, she wanted to eat Vasalisa. "Oh, well," she said, "I'm going out hunting today, and, well, you can sort out those 2 bags. There's peas and corn. I need them separated. I can't eat peas and corn together. And if you don't do it, I'll eat you up in one big gulp. Hear me?" And off she flew to go hunting. Oh dear. I took out my little doll again and fed my little doll some more bread and asked her for help. And she said, "You go to sleep. I know what to do." And she called, "Do, do, 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 do," for the mice, for the rats, for all the little creatures with lovely little hands. And they came to help, and they separated peas into one sack and corn into another. And within an hour, the job was done. And that night, as evening fell, Baba Yaga came back. "So, did you do it, Vasalisa?" Yes, Granny, I did it. It's all done." "What?" She was very disappointed. "Go to bed." And then Baba Yaga said to the cook, "But I overheard. I was hiding behind the oven, and I heard every word." "Stoke that fire nice and hot, for when tomorrow I do rise, I'll eat that Vasalisa child. And now I'll sleep." So she lay down on the bench and put her chin on a shelf and covered herself with her foot and was soon fast asleep. She snored so much the whole forest did shake. Yes. I didn't know what to do, so I asked my doll what to do, for I knew that in the morning she would eat me as sure as I had no shoes. The doll told her what to do. I went to talk to Cook, and Cook agreed, and Cook said I should run as well, and what she would do was, she said she would tickle Baba Yaga's feet and make sure that she slept as soundly as deep sleep, giving Vasalisa time to run away. Yes, and Cook gave me a few things that I needed. The first was for the cat. The cat came to scratch me and I threw it a crust of pie. And the cat let me go. Yes. And then the dog came for her. And I threw the dog some bread and the dog let me go. Yes. And the birch tree tried to scratch you, but no sooner that it did, I gave it a ribbon and tied it up in pink. And it let you go. Yes. And as I approached, the gate was slightly open and was just about to close. I greased its hinges with some oil and it opened and let me through. And oh, it closed behind her. The forest was so dark. It was so dark. It was as black as night. I could not see a thing. Again I asked my doll, and the doll told me what to do. So I took a skull from off the fence and put it on a stick, and the lights did glow so bright it was as if it was day. And through the forest I could walk, and I could see my way so clear. And she walked for a whole day and another night until she saw her cottage in the distance. And as she approached, it was still dark. And the sisters came out and the mother too, and they yelled at Vasalisa and said, "Where have you been? Where have you been? Why did it take you so long? We had no light at night. Why did it take you so long?" And they saw the skull with the eyes that shone, and they grabbed the skull from Vasalisa, and they said, "Well, let's hope this light works a bit better." Oh, and they took the light into the house. No sooner was it in the house that the eyes of the light began to burn into the stepmother and the two stepsisters. And no matter where they hid, the eyes followed them, and they burnt into their flesh until no sooner than later they were burnt like cinders in the fire and just little piles of ash. And all that was left was a little cottage and Vasalisa. I buried the skull in the soil outside the house, and there a big, beautiful bush of red roses grew. We'll hear more about Vasalisa next week. That's enough adventures for one day. Bye for now.
Oh, that was a lovely story, don't you think so, Billy? Oh, we love you, Kitty, and we love you, Smelly Sock. What a lovely story.
Yes, I really enjoyed that Russian fairy tale. Yeah, I'd like to hear more Russian fairy tales, actually. But this is time for us at the Silly Billy Show to say goodbye. And don't forget to sign in tomorrow for another exciting adventure of Cliffhanger. Yes, the story that just goes on and on. It's a very exciting story. So, ciao for now.